Back to another episode of Motogp Mac, and today we're going to talk about the Japanese Grand Prix that just happened in Motegi. Now, before we get into it, here is how they finished. Jorge Martin won it from Pecco Bagnaia, Marc Marquez, Marco Bezzecchi, Aleix Espargaro, Jack Miller, Augusto Fernandez, Fabio Di Giannantonio, Raul Fernandez, Fabio Quartararo, Taka Nakagami, Joan Mir, Cal Crutchlow, Stefan Bradl, Pol Espargaro, Michele Pirro, Franco Morbidelli, Miguel Oliveira, Maverick Vinales. Johan Zarco didn't finish technically, and Brad Binder did crash. So, to talk about the race was a range-shortened Grand Prix, and it was rightfully red flagged because of the weather conditions. The rain did bucket it down, and it was pretty intense for a time being. So much so that the race had to be stopped, and they tried to restart the race, but again on their warm-up lap the riders did raise their hand again, and the results were called because it was over 50% of the race completed. They were trying to restart the race with 12 lap sprint race, but it was just deemed too dangerous by the riders and also by the race committee. But during the race, Jorge Martin didn't get away badly, but again, you could see he had his uber confidence. You know, he's closed the championship points down to 3 points now between himself and Pecco as they go to Mandalika. Does give Pecco 2 weeks of thinking to do, to be fair. But again, he did look really, really good. Pecco did look really good as well. He was able to battle in the wet. It looked very comfortable, I will say, compared to his dry setup. He did look pretty comfortable in the wet. Marc Marquez, again, he looked that he was going to get on that podium regardless. It was podium or crash for 100% sure, but it was a really, really good ride with him, battling with Bezzecchi, and putting some good clean moves on Bezzecchi to maintain his podium. Bezzecchi again had a good enough ride. I did enjoy watching the battle between himself and Marquez. Aleix Espargaro again had a good ride as well. He was on the soft rubber, so you could see it was starting to affect him towards the middle part of the race. Jack Miller, again, same issue, just started to wear that soft tire. Probably should have went out on medium. Really good ride for Augusto Fernandez into 7th place, really getting up there. He was also on the soft rear tire. Fabio Di Giannantonio, again, good solid race, inside the top 10, fighting for his position, although I've been told that he is technically gone once if Marquez does go over. Good race as well for Raul Fernandez in the top 10 again in 9th place. So Fabio Quartararo did have a better day today. It was definitely an interesting race for Quartararo. The good thing about the wet is that it is not dry, so he can use that Yamaha a little bit more. Taka Nakagami, again, a good solid race, second hand home behind Marc Marquez, 11th place, which is better than he did yesterday. Joan Mir did look really, really good and was pretty upset after the red flag was called. Not sure why exactly, but definitely did look much better in the wet. Did look actually confident with the Honda, which is a weird thing to say. Cal Crutchlow again in 13th place, beating Franco Morbidelli home. Franco Morbidelli made a rod for his own back by staying out, but Cal Crutchlow, again, good race from him. Solid race as well from Bradl, Pol Espargaro, Michele Pirro. All did pretty well, to be fair and honest. Franco Morbidelli, I think it took him like 8 laps or something to come in to change the tires when everyone came in on the start of lap 2. So it's a bit weird, even like Pirro and them were leading the race, but Pirro came in after 2 or 3 laps, but Franco decided to try and risk it for a biscuit. Miguel Oliveira and Maverick Vinales, there was quite a strange incident that happened at the start of the race. Maverick was punted out wide. He lost 2 laps, so that's why he had to Joe, he was able to make the restart, but he was down in 18th and 19th place for Oliveira. A little bit weird. He had visibility issues, and he came in and he stopped. Now, luckily, they didn't pull the bike straight into the pit before the red flag was called, so he was eligible to take the start. But again, a bit of a mix up there. Let's just call it. Johan Zarco did crash and have a big crash. And for me, I think, I understand rules are rules, but he was escorted off the circuit with the bike by the marshals. He went down an access road that is around the back of the circuit, which, the safety cars, the cars that would be removing bikes, etc., use this road to bring bikes back to the pit lane. He did come out a gap then towards the pit lane. Now, for me, you could argue it in a safety grounds that, he wasn't in the wet conditions. He wasn't staying out the track, pushing the bike through the gravel and then going into the pit. But he was not allowed to restart because he did not enter the pit lane correctly, which I think is pretty poor, to be honest. They were saying originally that it was within the 5 minutes, but I think he was in within the 5 minutes, but he didn't enter correctly. And Brad Binder also then had a crash. But all in all, I think the race, while it lasted, was pretty good. I think wet races are always kind of squeaky bum time for not only the riders, but for us, the viewers as well, because we, anything could happen. Like, Martin locked the front into a corner and ran wide, lost a load of places. Now he was able to battle back, but again, it was just those moments within the race that I think that will panic anyone. As I said, the title championship now is really, really close between Martin and Bagnaia. There's 3 points. And I think with 6 races to go, or 6 rounds to go and 12 races, the pressure cooker is really starting to show now, and it'll be really interesting to see who will actually be able to stay in the kitchen under that pressure. But I would definitely love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the Japanese Grand Prix, and who was your rider of the day? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video.